Good morning, beautiful people. It is another gorgeous Saturday, and we are the Vagabond Nerds, brought to you by Jeremy over at Titan Comics. I just realized I do not have the doobly-doo going below.
I was about to ask. There it is. There it is.
Right there, doobly-doo below. He is your favorite comic monger and purveyor of fine geeky accoutrements. As you may or may not have noticed, the role of Ray will be played by Genesis from ANX Gamecast today. How you doing, ANX?
No, I'm good. How's it going?
Did you just call him ANX? That he represents
I'm the whole platform.
Thing. Platform, man. What are you talking about? It's like when you call someone Mr. President.
No, I didn't. Genesis. I didn't realize ANX was just a different form of Borg, being ANX.
Mm-hmm.
We are
the
ANX.
ANX. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
You didn't know? Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Anybody want to come get assimilated? Just let me know.
Let's say happy to be a part of the assimilation here today. That's fantastic.
You still haven't been on the show, Sean. So
actually, that's very true. I have not. I've still.
So whenever I do the one show a year that I do, like, you're gonna have to make that trip, man. You're gonna have to make that drive over and come to the studio.
I think once a year is probably doable. I can probably do that, man.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, actually, that reminds me. I need to run over and get you. I need to get you your drawing. I just realized.
Oh yeah, my the lovely piece that you drew for me. So you got it all finished and inked and everything
right here.
And
sweet.
And for the inside joke that we won't discuss, you also have to get him his flag. So.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
Yes. The flag.
That's the wrong one.
You doing multiples, huh?
Well, I started one. I didn't like the way it was turning out. So
you're a regular commission more. Ooh.
I am.
Sweet.
Hey.
It looks awesome, dude. Yes.
I can hear the accent through the screen.
Right? It looks fantastic. Awesome.
So yeah, we need to meet up so I can get that to you.
Sweet. Yeah, that'll go very well with the Cyclops and the Wolverine back here. So I got to get another frame and put them together.
Is it a picture of Cyclops blowing off Wolverine's hand while he's stabbing Cyclops in the eye? Is that Rebirth of Weapon X?
No, it's
okay.
It's a little less.
Okay.
A little more.
A little more friendly.
Yeah. So.
Okay, I got you.
It's good. It's good shit, man. Jason, you are very, very good at what you do, and don't sell yourself short, sir.
I sell myself more as average height.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you see what you make me do? Do you see what you make me do?
Yes, I do.
These crazy kids. All right.
All right.
Let's
start with Black Panther and just see where the spirit takes us.
Well, so yeah, it's been what? It's been a month, I think, since the last show, right? We were off for we usually do 2 weeks, and so we skip Thanksgiving, so here we are back. And yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Black Panther. Have both of you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I am cool to. We can discuss Marvel movie burnout later, but that's where I'm coming from. So I'm happy to hear spoilers and shit because honestly, I'm excited to see it, but not in the theater, and I don't want to be on a timeline like I was when it was phase 1 through 4, right? We led up to end game and all that shit. That was really cool. That was fun, but now it just feels like a chore to me. So, but yeah, I want to hear about the movie. I want to hear what y'all thought about
it. I liked it. I mean, it was. I'm still of the opinion they should have recast T'Challa. I think I agree with what's his face, the guy who did Reservoir Dogs, Quentin Tarantino. I agree with him only in this aspect that the character is what's important, right?
His comment. Yeah. Okay, so to put that in context, his comments about
We don't have movie stars.
Yeah, the way these movies are made now, these Marvel comic book and DC comic book movies are made now, is it's that the actors who are playing are not movie stars. People go there and they go there and they see the character. So like Thor is the star, and because Chris Hemsworth plays Thor, Chris Hemsworth is a movie star. But that's the way Tarantino phrased it, which is, people don't see Chris Hemsworth; they see Thor when they look at him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I 100% agree with that. I haven't put a whole lot of thought into it. I will say that Thor in general is more popular than Chris Hemsworth, but that doesn't mean he's not the star of the movie.
Right. No, like I said, I don't agree. Yeah, I don't agree with his overall take, but I do agree with the one part, which is that it is the character that's important rather than, in many ways, than the actor per se. Right.
And I don't think that was his intention, though, the way he said
right.
it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I disagree with his intention. That's what I'm saying. I disagree with that. I agree with the characters. What's ultimately important with the movies, like James Bond, right? That we've had 100 Bonds, and it's okay to have 100 more because it's the character that's important. I still think they should recast T'Challa because I think the character is important. That having been said, the movie, I mean, it did what it was supposed to do. It was fun. I mean, I'm a huge culture fan, so I liked I like the nuances in the character design of Namor and the way they redid the Atlanteans. So yeah, I liked it. It was fun.
So what I'll say is one, you can't really, it's not really apples to apples to compare it to James Bond. James Bond has been doing this, recasting a role for decades now. It's not like we just gave them a new James Bond 2 years ago and now we're changing him again. That's not really how it works. So that's one thing. And two, the first spoiler here, I mean, they did recast T'Challa. So
yeah, I know.
So what are we saying here? Like, they literally recast T'Challa. Like, that's literally what they did in the movie. They introduced the character and what is your name? T'Challa.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, what are we talking about?
The legacy thing. But here's the thing: it's not like Marvel hasn't recast other roles, right? I mean, the most famous is Rhodey, but
that's. I was gonna say, but that's the only one that's the most famous. Was they
most famous? Yes.
That was now. There's been little tiny ones that have changed here and there, but they haven't. Besides Hulk, right? And that's
not MCU though, right?
It was.
They kept doing that.
No. I mean, Edward Norton was the first MCU Hulk, and then they recast him with.
Yeah, Edward Norton was the first MCU, and then they recast it with. Oh crap! I had his name, and anyways, him.
Yeah, him.
That guy, and he's done a great job ever since. You know what I mean?
Ruffalo.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo.
Ruffalo. Yep. So I think Mark Ruffalo's been. I actually like him much more than.
Norton.
Norton in that role, particularly because so this is the other half. I think this is like the other side of the sword in terms of actors when it comes to actors versus movie stars and actors playing roles and seeing the roles versus the actor, blah blah. It's when I see Edward Norton, for the most part, I see Edward Norton. I'm like, hey, you're Edward Norton, and no matter what role he's in, I'm like, hey, you're Edward Norton. It's just like Tom Hanks or any other big name actor that's, I don't know, that doesn't have these like super crazy acting chops where they can completely turn into that person for that role. I still see them like, you're that actor. So them bringing in Mark Ruffalo for that instead, I enjoyed it more because I was like, okay, you're an unknown to me, so I can completely believe that you're Bruce Banner and, go. So
I think I would have definitely liked, I would have liked Ed Norton more as like an angry Hulk. The limitations that they have with the Hulk, because they didn't own the rights to the Hulk.
Yeah,
I think it ended up working out the best that it possibly could. But I think generally speaking, any movie, I'm going to want to take Ed Norton over Mark Ruffalo.
Yes,
every single time. I mean, every time. So
Genesis and I don't often agree, but this one we're 100%.
Hey, good.
Now, you ready to disagree?
Yes.
I'm not saying it was a bad movie. but it wasn't that great of a movie. And
so it was a great movie. Right. Yeah, I just said I had fun. Like that was like
you said you liked the you said you liked the movie, right?
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah. There's 25 movies. I'd put it in the top 15 of the Marvel films. Like it doesn't break that. Doesn't break top 10 at all. But it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say Genesis with the way he says, with the way Sir Gnome King clarifies his difference between liking and having fun, right? Liking the movie. Would you say you liked the movie? Like when you watched it and you saw it, did you like it? Did you have fun?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, absolutely not. And I'm usually not the one that gets into the weeds and these types of things. That's more of a Jason Ray thing of it had a third act problem and it had this
third act problem.
I don't usually get into the weeds in that, but this movie had a big problem with editing. The editing in the movie was the main problem in this movie.
Really?
Yeah, I agree.
I can only compare it to a soap opera. You watch an hour-long soap opera, and every 5 minutes there's like a completely different scene with completely different people over here doing a completely different thing for a different part of the story.
Okay.
And there's really no transition in between. It's just here's Karen and Billy kissing, and now here's Donnie and Johnny fighting. And it's that kind of just, there's no really transition. It's just like this happened, here's this thing, this happened, and it just kept going on like throughout the whole movie until we finally got to the fighting at the end. And it was just like, and I get it. I understand why, because they had to add in extra things like funerals for, and I get it. And it's not that the scenes individually were bad. It was just the way it was put together. It was just like, oh, we have to. The movie itself, when you watch it, Sean, remember I said this. It's like there was 3 intros to the movie.
So
3 separate intros.
Interesting that you say it that way, though, because didn't this is another one of Marvel's movies that suffered at least 3 rewrites. At least 3 rewrites. And I mean, I'm not saying that you can't rewrite a movie multiple times and come out with something that's amazing at the other end of it, but I think it's one of those things where, I mean, liken it to wood carving or something. If you're trying, or even artistry drawing, if you're trying to draw the same thing over and over and over and over again to try to get it just right, there's a certain point where you have to stop and crumple that paper up and throw it away and start from scratch, because you can't keep drawing over the same thing to make it better.
Yeah.
Unless you're painting, because apparently with oil painting, you can just paint over all that shit and everything's fine.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe this is one of those same reasons where it's like when they do too many of these rewrites and they do too many things, they lose that focus and it gets disjointed and jumbled and it doesn't feel like a good movie anymore.
Yeah, I think they could have shaved a lot of time off this movie. I mean, they really could. Ray and I definitely agree on this one respect. Is that you feel the watch time, right?
Like it drags. Like you can tell that you're like, man, I'm still watching this movie.
It's not that feeling. It's not a drag. It's just,
but you feel it. Like
what happens is once you get to a scene when you think the ending is coming, and then you start the scene and you clearly see, oh no, they're about to go do this whole other thing. And again, it's not that it was bad, but it's just like, oh no, we're not at the end yet. So it's not like man, what's going on? It's not that. It's just like, oh, I thought it was going to be over soon, but
right. Or it's like, we're going to go do this thing now for zero reason. But it's like to Genesis, I think it makes a great point. Every scene, like you have a lot of really, really good scenes and they're beautifully shot, they're beautifully acted, but then it's like, but then we're gonna do this completely other thing. Okay. And we keep doing this, and it's like it like I said, it doesn't drag, but you feel that it's a 2.5 hour movie where it's like they could have really shaved this down if they didn't have to go back and keep doing the same thing over and over again. And it's like, here's this guy we got to put in. We got to put in Riri Williams, and we got to do this, and we got to do. It's like, do we need to? Because I think like we've killing off a major character is kind of like that's the thing. It's like we could have really pared this down a lot further, I think. But the point is, I had a good time. I liked it. But my number one problem is the star of the movie is the least interesting character in the movie. Like, I was more interested in what was going on with M'Baku and the Queen and Namor. It's like these were all more interesting characters, but the way it was going on, I liked her interaction with. Okay, spoiler alert. I liked her interaction with Killmonger, right when she has that interaction on the ancestral plane.
The ancestral plane.
Yeah. But again, Killmonger is the most interesting character in that scene.
Well, okay, so Michael B. Jordan, man. That's hard to know.
Right, yeah, that's sort of unfair.
Well, he was horrible in the first movie, but we're not talking about the first movie. But but so you said a lot there. So let me let's. So another thing that made the movie so long, Sean, I feel like I'm talking to Sean here.
Please
is that I mean, I feel like you I don't want to say you did full origin stories. Like you really only did kind of two. That's like a full-on origin story. You did it with Namor and his people. So that's two.
Shit.
Like,
okay.
Right. But then, like you said, you had to introduce Riri. So that's a new thing. And it wasn't a full-on origin story, but they kept dropping little hints here and there, where she lived, where she's from, all that kind of stuff. So it's just like you're introducing all these characters, and then T'Challa, right? So that's even a fourth. So it's like you're resetting the whole Black Panther universe in one movie. That's basically what happened. And when I say resetting, another spoiler here, three main characters died in this movie. Mm-hmm. Not one. Three. Not one. Three. Three main characters died.
I think that was. I mean, I do think that was their intention, though, right? They had to do because. All right. So to say that the actor isn't a movie star and that whole bit. Chadwick Boseman, I've seen him in a bunch of other films. He was a movie star. Dude was amazing. He was a great actor. He did.
I'm glad you brought that up because that goes into my next point.
In my opinion, I liked him. I thought he was a really good actor. I saw him in what was it not Little Richard. Anyways, he played maybe it's called Brown. James Brown. Yeah. He played that movie with him playing James Brown, dude. Really good character role, really good. I mean, like he was on spot on in my opinion. But I feel like his personality was more T'Challa than anything else. He embodied that role very well, which is why I think everybody had such a hard time. I do think people have had a really hard time with them recasting him, but I do think that was a miss. Because even Chadwick's family, they all said he wouldn't have wanted that. They all said he would have rather they recast the role because to him the character was more important. What the character represented was more important, and they were like, his family disagreed with that choice. They were like, "Hey, you shouldn't have done that. You should have just recast him. You should have moved on." Have somebody else play the role of T'Challa and carry on the legacy of T'Challa in this role. And I think I agree. I think they should have done that. I do still think I would have struggled with it though, because it's like, again, Chadwick Boseman's such a good job. It's like you got to put somebody else in there, and then they're playing Chadwick Boseman playing T'Challa, and that's not fair.
So I think this movie, if you watch it, so not to Jason's point because it wasn't a good point. But I'm going to bring it up. It's not necessarily that Shuri was the least. What word did you use? Interesting character. That's not because I would make a case that in the first movie she was the most interesting character.
She was, in the first one I agree.
Character. But in this movie, she's not just another character. She is the lead in the movie. Mm-hmm. So now when you start saying things like, oh, well, Chad Boseman, he's not the star of the movie, it's the Black Panther. This movie here just debunks that whole argument because she, I don't think, was strong enough to carry this movie.
Well, but
it was very noticeable. It's not that she did a bad job, but it's just
she didn't.
It was very noticeable that Chadwick Boseman wasn't
in the movie.
This great lead actor was not in the movie anymore.
But there's levels to that, right? Because you're absolutely right. Sometimes the actor themselves cannot carry that role just because they can't. They're not meant. They're not that not meant. It's not that they're not meant to, but that role is not right for them. You know what I mean? When directors do casting and auditioning and they seek out people. And I mean, you know, Tarantino does that all the time when he looks for people to fill these characters that he's written. He thinks of the actor he wants to play that character. Sometimes as he's hold on,
he just goes and looks at feet. He just like, oh, you got nice feet.
Sometimes as he's writing it,
he doesn't work for Nickelodeon, Genesis. What are you talking
about? Other times he thinks about it afterwards when he goes, you know what, this actor would play this role very well because he sees them in that role. And so some people do that, some people don't. This one is suffering from circumstance, right?
Right.
The actress who plays Shuri getting forced into this as the lead role. Again, it's a circumstance of Chadwick Boseman's death. And I don't mean to say that to belittle her efforts, because that's not the point. I'm not saying anything about her efforts. I haven't even seen the damn movie, so I can't say that I agree or disagree with any of those things. But I do think that there is a certain amount of talent and presence and like presence that person as the actor themselves fills that role. So there are some people who are just bigger and like they have that bigger personality and you connect with them through that screen. And you're right. It would make sense that she didn't have that, because to your point, she was great in the other movie because she fit that role. She fit that role so well. And her character fit that role so well. And them forcing her to be the lead, it feels a little. I saw the previews and I saw where she steps up and at one point and she does calls people to war or whatever. And I'm like, okay, she's wearing the Black Panther outfit. I obviously know that Shuri's going to be Black Panther now. And when I saw it, I was like, that's not gonna. That just feels like that's a bunt. You know what I mean? It just feels like someone was like, tink, and then they decided, I'm going to make it to first. I just got to keep this game alive. That's all I got to do.
Yep.
And that's kind of how it felt when I saw the preview like that.
So you're saying it would have been better if we would have had a close-up shot of Uma Thurman's feet?
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, in everything, and you got like Oreo commercials. Milk,
Uma Thurman's feet,
like just put Uma Thurman's feet on like
Uma Thurman's dunking the Oreo with her
toes. Yeah, she's got the toes. She's doing the dunk. Yeah. Or Audi, by hey, look, the new M3 from BMW, and it's just a big foot, her big foot with wheels. Or like that, her feet on the
drive.
Yeah, that works too. It's a situation where I understand, and again, I don't give passes, right? But it's like I understand what happened and why it happened, like to the fullest extent. Like I get it, but it just at the end of the day, if I'm just gonna just rate the movie, it's just like I didn't enjoy the movie. Like I keep saying, there's any given part you would look at the movie like, oh, this is not a bad movie, but in totality, the whole thing, it's just like this is not a well put together movie. I'll probably never really watch it again.
So like I said, I had a good time, but I think my enjoyment came from like each individual scene overall, and I wasn't expecting much. But I will never watch this again because like if I want to, I'll watch the first one. Or I'll watch Endgame, but honestly, I haven't rewatched a lot of the Marvel movies lately. To be honest, I haven't. I've rewatched Dune like 3 times.
I've rewatched the entire first, all the way up through Endgame and 1 or 2 movies.
Burnt out.
No. I know.
I mean, what are we doing?
But I don't. What I'm saying though is I'm not like sitting down and going, okay, let me get my popcorn and my drink and I'm gonna watch these movies. I'm usually doing it, and it's on TV. I'm doing something else, right? But I'm there at the house. I'm doing chores, or I'm maybe.
Well, I don't really count that as if it's just background noise. I don't really count that as.
So, but I kind of do, because it really has been like I watched them from start, from all the way through, and I am stopping to take a moment and look and see and watch, and I'll sit down for lunch and actually take 45 minutes to just sit and watch the movie. And lead into the next movie. So I mean, we've done that, and there has been 1 or 2 nights where we're like, hey, we're we're working our way through this saga, as it were, and we're on one specific movie, and I'm like, ooh, save that one. Let's watch that with dinner tomorrow because I actually want to watch that one, right? So I'll pause that one, sit down and watch it.
I think the only thing that I rewatched was the Endgame, the end scene.
Yeah.
Specifically with Scarlet Witch. I mean that part there, just that one part with her beating him down. I was like,
it's like I don't even know you. It's like, dude, she is going to destroy you.
I don't even know who you are. I'm like, oh my god. But I mean, the only one that I can think of just right off the top of my head that it's just like, oh, I would watch that again. It's probably the first Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I was going to say this sounds the way you guys are painting this movie, this to me feels like not another, but it feels like the same, I guess quality is the really used to describe it as madness, where the movie was fine in a way. If you're going to sit down and watch and just, am I frozen again?
You were glitching. I didn't hear what movie you said.
Sorry. This kind of feels, or the way it sounds, it feels like, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, okay.
Where it's the same type of quality in terms of like plot, story, substance, the way it feels. Like you're like, okay, yeah, it was a movie. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a piece of shit, but it filled, it ticked some of the boxes for being a superhero movie, but it wasn't good.
It wasn't that. If anything, this was an emotionally draining movie.
I had one of those last night. I don't think I need to watch another one.
It's a really sad. Most of the movie is a really sad movie.
Yes.
Well, that sucks.
When it comes to obviously T'Challa, and I'm trying not to give too much spoilers, but the other person that died.
Right.
And then even when you look at Namor's.
His
people, his backstory.
Yeah, I mean, like the 75% of the movie is sad tragedy. So it's not really your typical superhero movie in that sense. A lot of superhero movies do have the tragedy, but it's just like Batman. It's just like, oh, my parents died. Oh, sad. Poor me. Right. But then the rest of the movie really has nothing to do with, sadness.
Now we're comparing, your favorite DC series to to a Marvel universe, which I would argue that actually I think the Marvel universe has a lot more tragedy in it than I'm sorry, not a lot more in my opinion relatable and believable tragedy in it than the DCU, which thank God. I'm sorry. I always called it the DCU. I had no idea. Nobody corrected me to be like, actually, it's DCEU. I'd be like, I don't care. Like,
nobody cared. Nobody cared enough to correct you. That's the problem. Yeah.
Nobody cared enough to correct me, and that's all that matters. Is that when I saw that they're like, hey, we're changing this, I was like, oh, didn't realize it wasn't that. All right.
This is the first step in your origin story with your flag, Sean.
Yep.
First step in my.
No one cared enough about me to tell me I was missing a letter.
It wasn't about him. Nobody cared. It's not that we didn't care enough about Sean's. We didn't care enough about the DCEU to correct him. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Sean was fine. I'd happily correct Sean on any given day, but I just didn't care. No one cared enough about DCU.
My origin story can't be me fighting for the DCU. It's just not going to happen.
It's not for the DCU.
No, but I mean, it's right. But I would be representing their interest by being like, how could you not care about the E? I'm not going to do that. I'm not. It's got to be better than this. It's got to be much better than that.
Anyway, but yeah, I think the problem is we have flogged this one particular horse. It's a movie. I enjoy. It's an movie. Yeah, it's like I'm never going to watch it again. I really liked M'Baku in this one.
I felt like M'Baku has stolen every scene he's been in. One, the actor who plays him, and forgive me, I don't remember his name, but I like him. He was in a TV show, and I can't remember the name of the TV show either, but it was the one where the big giant computer was watching everybody, and the dudes were hacking stuff, and they were going around and solving secret crimes and Person of interest. He played this low-key badass gangster in this one particular season where he was he was the behind-the-scenes guy that like he was unassuming, and everybody was like, oh, he can't be the he always showed up, and he showed up like he was the henchman. And always had somebody else talking for him, but in reality, he was the big. So it was a bait and switch sort of situation, and I love that because he did it so well. It's like Kaiser Soze, in Usual Suspects or Genesis. If you've seen that, I don't know if you have. It was a '90s movie.
No, I haven't seen that.
All right, but anyways,
that's one you should watch. Yeah,
that is actually a fantastic.
Is it 98 and
up? No, it's probably like 95.
Yeah, no, it's not happening. Well, I mean, no. So let's talk about things I did like in Baku.
Okay, yeah.
Did like in Baku. I liked Riri. I liked Riri in the scenes that I liked her energy. I liked her personality in the movie. I liked the relationship between Namor and Shuri.
1995.
That didn't go where I thought it was going to go,
right.
but I did like their interactions. I liked his origin story, and I really liked his origin story. And then I liked how he got his name right. I would say that the graphics weren't great, the CGI, but it was way better than the first movie. That was one of my biggest gripes in the first movie, is that the CGI was like crap.
Really,
this was much better, but it still wasn't.
Except for Riri's armor, when she goes full Ironheart, that animation was. I did not like that at all. Like the armor design was fine, but she looked like her armor looked like it was plastic. It looked like a Power Ranger toy.
Well, I mean, she is just a random college kid who made it, so it might be.
So still, yeah. I'm just saying. So they could have done something like it looked so.
It looked generic.
It
looked like a Dollar General version of Iron Man.
Yeah,
which to be fair is kind of feels like Power Rangers. I mean, it does have that feel to it.
But like I said, the design isn't even my problem. It was just when you see it animated, it just looks
basic.
It looked cheap,
generic.
Basic. It looked
basic.
It felt like
basic bitch.
Y'all remember watching the Beast Wars as kids?
Yes.
Okay, that's what it looked like to me.
Okay.
When I make the comparison from DC and Marvel, when I say DC seems like the generic superheroes and Marvel are the cool ones, it's that situation. Tony Stark's Iron Man suit is Marvel cool, and then this Riri Ironheart suit is, it would fit in well in DC. I'm just saying.
I'm not gonna argue with him on this one.
I can't argue with it. I haven't seen it, but I'll tell you what though. Look, this is as stupid as this sounds. This is actually getting me more hyped to see this movie when it does come out, because I'm like, this is great. I can't wait to watch this and be like, okay, is this the part where they were taught? Like, I'm like, oh yeah, that does look like shit, or they were totally off on that. Like, I'm gonna be more interested because I'm getting hyped up for something I haven't seen, and I get to compare. I just wish
we could talk about all three people who died.
I mean,
I'm trying to remember who the third one was, because I know obviously
that's a really telling point for the movie, Jason. I'm trying to remember who the third major character was that died in this movie.
I mean, you already mentioned them, Jason. So it's not that this third person died in the movie, but it was confirmation that they are dead.
That they are dead.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, that's fair. Okay, I see where you're coming from. We're good. Okay. Gotcha. I was like, no, it's like it's like Namor's mom's not really an important character.
No,
I mean, she's important, but she's not. Yeah. Okay, I see where you're going. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, hey.
Yeah. I know. I see where you're coming from now. Yeah, we're good.
Just oddly enough, bashing the movie has set it up more for me to go and want to see it.
Not bashing, just stating obvious kind of facts.
Critiquing the movie. Very much critiquing the movie. I'm looking forward to it coming on Disney Plus so I can actually watch it and enjoy it, because I do want to see it. Fair. Don't get me wrong, I do want to see it. Much like Black Adam, which is coming to. Yeah, I get it. Listen, I just want to watch them because I have to experience them for myself. I can't just take everybody else's word for it, right? If
I would never tell you. I would never tell Sean not to watch it. I would.
If I did that, I just wouldn't be. I wouldn't be me. I have to.
No, you have to watch it. Yeah. But in generally speaking, if I were to give the masses, I would say it's not all that. You don't have to watch this movie.
If you were back at Blockbuster slinging movies, you would not recommend it.
No. I wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend Black Adam to the average Blockbuster customer that come in. It's like no.
Yeah, I obviously it's an R-rated film, but I would much rather. I would say like, no, go watch Bullet Train. Bullet Train's good. You want
I did watch that. I did watch that the other night. That was really stupid and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
in certain parts, but yeah.
My first question to the Blockbuster customer: do you like The Rock? Yeah, I'm a big Rock fan. Okay, watch Black Adam. Then. Actually, no. Actually, let me take that back. I would say, well, don't watch Black Adam because he's not The Rock in this movie.
Well, that's impressive. I mean,
he is not The Rock in this movie. I'm not saying it would have made it better, but he's just not The Rock in this movie.
Okay, I see. Yeah. I took me a second, but I see exactly what you're saying, and you're not. Yeah, I agree with you on that. This was him actually trying to act. So
in my opinion, that's kind of a selling point on his blooming acting career. I know he's been acting in movies for a while now, but if you're telling me in this film he is not The Rock, then that tells me that he's actually trying something different.
No, but he's literally not trying.
Oh,
that the character is literally not trying. Monotone, straight face. That's it.
Well, but
so he's taking the
character is. That's
he's taking the Terminator. The Terminator approach, Arnold Schwarzenegger from the first one, right? From the very first one, where he barely spoke English. He could probably only ask where the toilet was and say, "I need a toothpick," and that was it.
It's very similar, but I think I enjoyed his performance in that better than The Rock's performance in Black Adam. It's not every day when you're saying he outacts someone in a movie, but I'm saying it here. That's my hot take for the day.
Okay,
he did a better role than The Rock did in Black Adam.
Interesting.
Jeez.
Yeah, Aldous Hodge though, he's the highlight. Well, him and Pierce Brosnan, they're the highlights of the film.
Sure.
Their interaction particularly.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Wow. Anyway, so there you have it. Yeah. Again, I mean, watch it when it comes out on streaming. You're not going to miss anything. It's watchable.
It's not must see. It's not. No. You have to go to the theater to watch it.
That's the thing. A lot of these movies that we watch and I think that we review here, I don't think a lot of them are, for the most part, a must see, unless you are just a diehard fan of that genre, and then it's like, yeah, you should see it. You kind of Genesis, kind of like you said it. If you were going to recommend a movie to somebody, you would ask them a qualifier beforehand. It's like, well, are you a fan of Marvel movies? Are you a fan of DC movies? And they'd be like, absolutely. You go, well, then hell yeah, go rent this thing, man. You're gonna love this.
Right.
And I think that we here tend to do that a lot with these films. And I mean, now obviously we're still trying to hold them to a standard that we would find enjoyable. But there's getting into the burnout thing. There's been a lot, like, I'm kind of tired of superhero movies. I'm glad they're here, but I'm just kind of tired of superhero films.
I remember when there was no pizza. Is that another inside joke?
It is, but it's workable.
What I would like at this point is, I would still like to have pizza every so often, but I would like to have some chicken marsala, and I would like to have some linguine, and then I would also like to have like other bits.
Is it one pizza every 3 months, every so often? I mean, it's not like they're coming out every month. It's not like they're,
But think about it though. I mean, there's actually a lot more that are out there than maybe I should say it this way. They get more promotion than anything else. So all these other movies that I would like to probably know about, learn about, know existed, I have to go hunt and find on my own. And those are what would be considered mainstream movies 15 years ago.
Well, right? I feel like the cream rises to the top though. Like I didn't go seek anything about Bullet Train. But I've heard about Bullet Train. Everything, everywhere, all at once. I just went to go buy that. I bought it without even knowing. It rises to the top, and I've heard about it.
That's a fantastic.
And it didn't have all of the promotion like you're talking about. So I feel like if it's good enough, you will hear about it without having to search for it.
Now I do agree in that regard. Is that some of those movies that are those, I look at a lot of those as kind of underground films. especially Everything Everywhere All at Once. That is not a blockbuster movie, right? But I wouldn't mind seeing some blockbusters that aren't specifically superhero films.
Well, you got your John Wicks that have been sprinkled in, and
yeah. I mean,
but even then, John Wick is still essentially a superhero film. Like, where's a good Western, right? Or
nobody wants to see that.
Screw off. Or what about a good what about a good crime noir film? It doesn't have to be period. Like, period would be great, but you could do it today. But that's your point, right? It's like there's more out there at the buffet. It's not just
there's more than just a, I have superpowers, I'm a superhero, and I have to save the world.
And it's the same story over and over and over again.
That really is what most of these movies boil down to is I'm a superhero. Something happens, I have to save the world, and I don't.
But that's not an MCU or DCEU problem.
No. But it's
them putting out their movies at the rate that they do has nothing to do with this company not making you a good Western to watch. It has nothing to do. Like, those things have nothing to do with each other.
But I think it does, right? Because you have a budget, and that budget's going to be divvied up to what is selling the most. Now, these are selling the most because they're the hot ticket. Although, honestly, I still kind of feel like, even though they're still hot and everybody still watches them, I kind of feel like it's waning, right? I mean, especially with some of the quality of the movies we're seeing coming out now. Like, again, the whole lead up to Endgame was a spectacle, the likes of which moviegoers had never seen before. And that's lightning in a bottle. You're not going to get that again.
But we've talked about this before. Like,
I know.
And we should probably stop referring to this as phase 4 or 5 or whatever the hell it is. It should probably be like 1.
It should be.
We're essentially in phase 1 again. And that's what people don't really understand. And if you go back to phase 1, the real phase 1, and some of the stuff in phase 2, it was some crappy MCU movies there. So it's just like to act like everything in phases 1 through all the way up to Endgame was just great, and this was awesome. Like, it wasn't.
But let me ask this, because this is what I'm laboring. Maybe this is why I'm frustrated. At one point, Kevin Feige, I think it was Kevin Feige, came out and said, we don't want all these stories and all these things to be completely in again. He basically said at one point, he was like, look, we did Endgame. Endgame was amazing. We are not going to do another Endgame. Where he was like, we're not going to do this thing where we build and build and build and build and get to this. I could swear I remember him saying this.
I don't remember him saying that, but I mean, that clearly was not going. Whatever you said, he said that wasn't going to happen.
But see, that
was always going to be the next Endgame.
But so I remember him saying something like that, and I've seen a few of these movies, and I see where they always lead you at the end of whatever movie into another movie. Now, if it's just Doctor Strange, and the end credit scene is leading Doctor Strange into the next Doctor Strange movie, I don't really have any problems with that. But if the end of every credit scene is leading you into a new crossover, where now I have to watch this movie and this movie to understand who these people are, so that by the time that movie comes out, I can watch that movie and understand the whole movie instead of, you know what I mean? If it's going to continue to lead me down this path of the only way for you to understand this is to watch everything from the beginning, then I'm getting burnt out.
It's never been that. It's never been where you had to watch anything. The running joke on my show was that I had never watched Guardians of the Galaxy until like after Endgame.
Yeah,
I just never got to it, and I didn't have to go watch that movie to understand who their role in the movie. I didn't have to watch that.
When
in Doctor Strange, I didn't watch that when it first came out. I watched it a year or two later. It's never been that. It's what I'm.
When I say have to is me. I'm not telling all these other people out here they have to. Have to is me, right? Have to is the way that I like to experience these things is linear. I want to watch them in the order they came out so that I can enjoy every single bit of every single one. You know what I mean? Like, I want to get all the
inside jokes. You want to get the nuance because to your point, if you'd seen the first Black Panther and definitely Endgame, then this movie well, the problem is, even this movie can make sense, and it doesn't necessarily lead you into another movie. So this one, I agree with Genesis on this, but like, to know who Vanessa is, sorry, to understand who Vanessa is, you do have to have seen uh, uh, Winter Soldier and Captain American Winter Soldier. You had to have seen the Hawkeye show, and I think this is the other aspect of what you're talking about in the burnout. It's like, it's not just all the Marvel movies, it's not just all the DC movies. It's now we have the shows, and it's the piling on. And I get where Genesis is coming from. I really do, and I'm believe me, no one's more sympathetic towards that than I am. However, I do see very much where you're coming from, because my life's getting busier, and it's like, I don't necessarily want to just go. Like, I don't necessarily always have the time to go watch them. I don't feel like I should have to go watch them. I can watch them whenever I jolly well please. And and to a point, it's like, I think part of the burnout is, I was just watching a thing on the history of the Westerns, why it came to mind. Like, Westerns were like some of the biggest things in the 50s, 60s, and early 70s.
It was like this. They exploded. Yeah, it was like the Marvel bit. They exploded. Yeah.
Right, and what part of the burnout in all this is, essentially you're getting the same story over and over and over and over again, and that's part of the problem, right? Like,
I don't think that's necessarily what happened with Westerns. I mean, there's a whole minority group of people that probably do not enjoy Westerns and what was being portrayed, so they just did not watch them. I mean, it's the same reason I don't play Red Dead Redemption. Like, I don't care how great the game is. I can go throughout the day without hearing my people being referred to as blackies. Like, I don't need to hear that. So it's just like, I don't think it was necessarily just a burnout. I think the audience like greatly shifted, and it's like nobody they don't necessarily want to watch that.
I think that's definitely one of the elements to it. That's an extra element.
But it's definitely not the majority. I mean, Europeans ate up. I mean, they ate it up, and to be honest, that's not the elements you're talking about. That's not in the vast majority of these larger westerns. To your point, I don't disagree, but that's also not. Again, burnout was a huge aspect of this, because at a certain point, once you've seen, I love westerns, but once you've seen one, you've basically seen most of them, right? They have the same basic plot. That's the problem with superhero movies. It's the same story over and over again with different nuance. I wouldn't play Red Dead Redemption because I don't have that kind of time to dedicate to a game. I don't play video games anymore at all.
That's actually the reason I didn't play, is I don't have the time to dedicate to play.
Well, once they start saying, I had to sleep next to the blackies. All right, bro, I'm turning this off. I'm good.
Jesus.
I'm good. Like, it's just like I don't need to go back to the 1800s for anything.
Right. And now, I mean, if you're doing a period piece, I get that that's why they're putting that in there, because they're not trying to wash over the atrocities, right? They're not trying to wash over the atrocities, and I don't think we should wash over any atrocity, because if you get rid of it, if you get rid of it, then people forget about it, and then years later, someone's going to go, what what I think would be a great idea, and history doesn't repeat itself necessarily, but it's definitely a lot like it mirrors itself very well. It rhymes. Yeah, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes very well. So some of those things I understand period wise are done for that reason, is to because you're in that period and that's what happens. But I'm not. I mean, I'm not saying a Western to celebrate that kind of shit. Obviously, that's not what I'm going for. But there are some really good, like, what was it? And this isn't even current either. What was it? Is it called? Was it 310 or 210 to Yuma? What was the
310
remake?
to Yuma.
310 to Yuma. So that was done mid 2000s, 2012 even, somewhere around there, 2010 and 2008. Anyways, that was a remake of a Western, and it was a good Western when it was out, and it was a good Western when it was a remake too. I also wouldn't mind seeing, honestly, I gotta say, here we are back into comic book movies. They should redo Quick and the Dead. I really think Quick and the Dead was a comic book, and I would love to see them redo Quick and the Dead with better actors. Right? It doesn't have to be Sharon Stone leading a cast with what was this?
Gene Hackman.
Gene, now he did a good job in that movie though.
Well, yeah,
that's because it's Gene Hackman. But that's and
Leonardo
Leonardo DiCaprio playing the kid. I would love to see him that
he could play Gene Hackman's role now.
There you go. That would be fitting.
But back to the point about the superhero movies. Like, look at Logan. I wouldn't even throw in, like, I would argue Logan doesn't even, A, it's a Western, but B, it doesn't even, like, that wouldn't, like, if we got more stuff like Logan where it was smaller, right? It was a very different story. So, like, it's still a comic book character. It's a great comic book movie, but it's different. It's not the same. It isn't the same story that we've been getting over and over and over again.
So this is what I would caution. Again, with the pizza reference, I remember when there was no pizza. To me, it's just crazy that comic book fans are getting on a podcast and basically saying, like, you want less comic book movies and go make something else. Be careful what you wish for. Just imagine if every comic book lover in the world did what you're doing right now, there would be no more pizza. I'm big on supporting the artists, because I'll give you another blockbuster reference. People would come in, I want some anime. Well, we only have like 5 titles, right? Well, can't you get more? I don't control that. If you want more, you go rent these 5 that we have, and they will eventually start sending us more. And that's what they did. When I left that particular store that I'm thinking of, we had about 35 titles.
Yeah.
When I first got there was 5. So I'm really big on supporting. Even now, were those 5 that we had any good? Would I have recommended anyone watch them? No. But if you want us to get more, you go watch them. That is the exact reason why I keep watching these crap ass DC movies. I'm supporting the artists. I want more pizza. I always want there to be pizza there. So be careful what you wish for. Would you rather be right about it dying off like the Western movies, or would you just rather continue to have pizza?
Like, no.
Give me my pizza.
This is very interesting, because this I think, Genesis, this highlights your approach critiquing movies and Marvel movies for that matter. This highlights your approach to critique. Your statement right now highlights the way you approach critiquing movies. And then what what Gnome King and I are saying is how we are approaching our critiques to these movies, right? Which is ultimately the theme is we all want better movies. We all want better Marvel and DC movies, just period. We want better movies. I want them to be meaningful. I want them to have some weight. I want them to be engaging. I want them to have good characters, good quality of actors playing them, and good special effects. I want them just to be a good, memorable movie. I wouldn't mind walking away from it and wanting to text my friend to say, hey, man, have you seen this yet? If not, see it and then text me back, because we need to talk. You know what I mean?
That goes into a different conversation.
No. Hold on. So we're all saying that same thing. That's what we want. Because I'm not saying I want these movies to stop. I'm saying I want more variety, but I still want these movies to exist, and I want them to be better to capture my imagination and capture my engagement. Because right now, they're not capturing my engagement. Some of it is burnout because I feel like there's too much of it. I do feel like there's too much of it. Jason mentioned all the series on Disney Plus, and while those are great, I do feel like it's a chore that I do have to continue to watch them to make sure I understand what's coming down the road. Whereas I would like more of a, hey, here's just a standalone Wolverine movie. Here's a Scarlet Witch movie. Here's a standalone new like a new Captain America and Bucky and Winter Soldier, like a new standalone movie. I would not mind new movies if they were just standalones. Don't make me watch these in a series. Don't make me feel that way. You know.
Yeah. So here's the problem with the argument. If they just simply made those movies that you want, there would have never been box office record-breaking attendances, where therefore the studios are willing to put more money into the next movie. Like that probably would have never happened. You don't if they simply did that, there would have never been a 35 whatever movie, however many movies that wouldn't have been 35 pizzas.
But I'm not discounting those pizzas that came before us. We ate those pizzas. They were delicious. I've got the stomach to show it. Like, it was fantastic. Yes. I'm not discounting those. I love those. They set a precedent. They did something perfect. They got us to a place where we can now be, right? But it's like you get to a point where you are and you exist in that point. But you don't need to overindulge in that point, because if you overindulge, then you lose the nuance of it feeling new and fresh and good and exciting and those sorts of things.
Well, I guess from my point of view with these movies, these movies are not necessarily better or worse than what happened in the first 4 phases. And that's my point. But what it sounds like, I
feel like they're worse, man.
I don't feel like that. Because here's the deal. And I want to bring this up. If you're saying it's the same thing over and over, how is it worse then? So, and I'm not saying that, Sean, that you feel this way. I'm throwing this out here into the universe.
Yeah. Hypothetical. I got you.
Because I've seen the same argument online. So it was okay when you had straight white man with woman love interests in Iron Man and Thor and Captain America. That was fine. Now you do the same story. Y'all, these are y'all's words. It's the same story over and over, but we have an Asian person now, and we have a gay person, and we have a black person, and we have a woman lead. And now all of a sudden, these are not as good. But it's literally the same movie, according to you all. It's literally the same movie, but just different lead actors, and somehow it's not as good. And then it really all started with the Captain Marvel crap.
All right.
It all started with the bashing of the Captain Marvel. And it's like Captain Marvel, and I'll say this again, at the time was the best origin story movie MCU ever made. And it was just bashed, and it was like, well, you're bashing it because it's a woman lead. Get out of here. Like,
so let me say, right? It's not, we're not bashing these movies because it's Asian or black or anybody like that. That is not what's happening.
I didn't say you did. But all I'm saying is, if it's the same, how's it worse?
That's a false equivalency. You can't say that just so you bring the argument up. You say that, hey, it's a coincidence that you guys are saying this, and that's not the reason.
So right? No, what I'm saying is, these are the reasons that I'm seeing over here from people who are saying the same thing.
The trolls on the internet, all the idiots who are
they're not trolls. This is how they really feel. They're not trolling. This is how they feel.
I call them trolls because
they're saying the same thing that you're saying. So I'm asking, well, why are you saying it? If it's the same exact storyline with probably better graphics and better history, because you do have all these tie-ins from the previous movies and all that, then why is it worse?
It's because what I'm saying is not because of the actors or anything else. It's because it's the repetition. And repetition, it as we've all said before, right, is continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again.
Let me just ask one question. But was it not repetition when it was Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man 2, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man 3, Captain America, Thor? Was that not repetition?
Hold on. People were bashing Iron Man 3.
And
and 2.
So how are these movies worse?
Thor 2. We didn't say that. I said this was like top 15.
I guess I'm talking to Sean. And how are these movies worse then? And again, I brought this up earlier. There were some crap movies in phases 1 through 3, 1 through 4, whatever you want. There were some crap movies in there. So how are these worse? There's no way these movies are worse than those crap movies. No way.
I didn't say So I have gems that are in the first phase, and yes, I get it. We reviewed some of the ones that were in the first phase that we thought were really good, that you yourself said were terrible. I would equate these to the ones that at the time you felt were terrible, right? We have different opinions from time to time. I didn't hate. Hate is way too strong a word. I definitely did not like Multiverse of Madness. Now, I appreciated what came through it. I was like, hey, cool, Sam Raimi. And when I saw Sam Raimi's bits that he did, I was like, that's fun to see Sam Raimi doing Sam Raimi again. But it felt like a bit act to me. And when I see a bit act in a movie, that's not, to me, a good movie. That's just somebody putting out a movie because they're like, we want this director to do it. We know we got to put this out. Let's throw this together. Let's put it out there. It's cannon fodder.
So
now I haven't seen.
Was that the worst movie? Was that the worst movie of this phase?
I haven't finished to answer your question yet, right? And you got to give me an opportunity to do that. So I haven't seen Black Panther yet, so I can't say this one. I haven't seen the second one yet. So I can't say whether it's good or not, and I'm excited to watch it. That one is the Multiverse of Madness was, I think, is that the first one in this phase that I've seen?
I don't know.
I think it's the first one. I think it's the first one in this phase that I've seen.
Spider-Man, does that count? No.
Was that this phase or was that last phase?
It is this phase. The problem is a lot of people see it as not part of the MCU because of what they were doing with Sony. So a lot of people say, yeah, it is, but it's also not. So, but it's in the phase. It's in the phase.
Well, my question would be, if Multiverse of Madness, let's just say that's the worst one. I didn't enjoy it either.
Which that's the only one I've seen. So let's be fair. When I say that they are, that's the only one I can reference, Genesis. So okay. I'm not saying that everything after that is. I'm saying this one so far.
But the question is, if you can say, regardless if you saw all the other ones, that I didn't like this movie. It was a bad movie to me, right?
Right.
Look at the first few phases. What was Dark World to me was probably the worst movie.
Dark World was
Multiverse
rough.
of Madness is 10 times better than Dark World. That's my point here. You take the worst movies from phases 1 through whatever and take the worst movies from now. These movies are still better than those movies. So to act like now there's an issue when they're literally putting out better quality movies today than the perfect, these are your words. They set up this perfect thing that was so great and it'll never happen again. It's like, but it wasn't perfect. There were some crap movies. These movies that are considered crap now blow those movies out of the water.
Well, but you are conflating a lot of things with that statement.
How?
You are. You just said your implication was that every movie that Sean said, building up to Endgame, that all these earlier movies were all 100% perfect. That's not what he said.
No, he said you put together this perfect thing, and it wasn't perfect.
Endgame. He was quoting. First of all, he was quoting Kevin Feige by saying,
"Perfect things come with flaws. A perfect thing is a flaw." No, seriously. To be perfect, it's flawed. Hey, man, listen. Humans are flawed, right? Hold on. We're all flawed, right? Humans are flawed. We're all flawed.
For yourself, the gnomes are perfect.
All right, easy, Gnome King. I know you're the perfect thing in the world, right?
I am.
I've got a lot of faults, man. I'm not perfect, but I do enjoy myself, So what I'm saying is, I enjoyed because I think you're not missing my point, but maybe I'm not communicating it the right way.
Maybe
I'm burnt out because of the frequency of the movies and feeling like I have to watch them in order when they come out to enjoy them, because that's how I enjoy them.
And now, that's fine.
Hold on. That's me. That's
me.
Right.
That's
Genesis.
Wait.
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you.
No, but you're not telling me that. But so it's but when you get on here, it sounds like you're telling them that.
Oh no. If any,
I'm just telling you. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're telling them you have to go watch all of these movies. I'm just telling you. That's what it sounds like. And so for me, I'm like, hold on, let me defend my pizza.
Feel that way.
I'm just saying, let me defend my pizza here. Don't go tell the 3 people that they have to watch all these movies and they're putting out too many and you won't have time to watch all of them. Don't tell those 3 people about my pizza like that.
But
if it's you, then that's fine.
I've said that multiple times, and let me also say, no, I've said that multiple times.
Rewind this tape.
I've not this tape. I'm not talking today. I said that, like, throughout the course of us doing this show.
I know, but I'm on this show. I'm not on.
I know. But again, I am not responsible for other people's decisions and habits that they make.
You're an influencer. You are.
Who are we?
This man has never influenced anything in his life.
Who are we influencing?
You are, Sean.
So listen.
You are. You got a long running 5-year podcast.
There's a just like I want a balance in the amount of movies that come out that are superhero related. There's also a balance in the amount of onus on the individual listening and thinking for themselves, right? Listening to what we're saying, but also thinking for themselves to apply it appropriately versus, something I say that they misconstrue as gospel. I will tell anybody, anytime, all the time, and I've said it multiple times, is who in their right mind listens to us? Who in their right mind
takes yourself short.
Takes our advice as realistic.
I'm not talking about you, Sean, specifically, but the two people on the show who
I don't know, man. Rewind that. You did say I'm talking about you
specifically. No. I'm talking about this next comment, this next statement. I'm not talking about you specifically.
I got you.
But there's two people on Vagabond Nerds who used to own a comic book store. So if I'm going to listen to someone about comic book movies in relationship to whatever, like I will always say comic book related material. Gnome King, I've never called you that. I'll probably never do it again. And Ray, I'm going to you. Now, as far as like critiquing a movie, regardless if it's comic book or not, like I feel like I used to make a living doing that. So that's my strong suit. But if it's comic book related material and who was in this and what happened in I'm going to them, SMEs, the subject matter experts. And I'm not saying you don't have a skill, Sean. That's why I said I'm just using them as an example. Don't sell yourself short. So if I want to go to somebody about, I want to get into art and drawing or Bigfoot, I'm going to Jason.
Sorry,
and I'm going to look.
I'm looking at the camera. It's got the
camera's reversed.
My rights and my lefts are reversed.
Y'all are some big time influencers. Get out of here.
Big time.
Get out of here.
So on that note, Sean is the everyman on the show. That's his role. A little behind the scenes, we all have roles.
That's my role.
That's your role. Well, in Sean, and you play it very, very well, and you do a good job. So I think that the fact that he feels this way is the fact that he's the everyman, right? To Genesis's point about how it's like, well, I remember a time when we didn't have the pizza. Older than you, I remember movies before 1998. I'm saying I get it, right? I really, really do.
We were stuck with the OG Captain America movie, and we were stuck with the OG Punisher films. Like it was rough out there.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was rough out there.
And people love those old Superman, but those were not quality movies.
The first one was okay, but but again, everything in context. The original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think, still holds up. But moving forward, the simple fact of the matter is, though, I'm going to quote. I think it was Sting. I think Sting is the one who said this.
The wrestler or the singer?
What? Well, hold on. Maybe the wrestler said something similar. Yeah, there we go. No, it was the singer. I believe it was him. They were talking about how, when the sharing sites came on, right? When the sharing sites had come on, people were like, is this the end of music?
Right.
Yes.
And Sting said this all happened in the 80s. With the rise of cassette tapes, he says what was killing music wasn't the cassette tapes, it was shitty music. Someone who used to own a comic book store, someone who's been in this, getting his ass beat up because of my love of comics and anime before anime was a big thing. What I would like, again, what we're commenting on is, yes, we would like this genre to survive. For it to survive, though, it has to still be good. And unfortunately, you're right. The problem is a movie, if you see the same thing over and over again, it doesn't matter how many you can if you're just swapping the names and characters, but you're getting the same story, it will become repetitive and it will become old. The thing is, there has to be a different take on it. There has to be a different aspect to the story for it to remain fresh and relevant, or people will become annoyed with it, even if it's the same or better quality. This is why you don't just eat Papa John's or Domino's or whatever. People will go through multiple, because even if they want the pizza, they want it to be a little different, right? They want there to be a different flavor profile.
I think the pizza reference is not really the best. It was funny, so we just ran with it. The pizza reference is not the best because There are people that order pizza every single week. Again, these movies are not coming out every single week. It's just not happening.
It's not just the movies. I'm also talking about, because I forgot to mention that it is the Disney Plus series. Now I'll be fair and honest that lately we have had a break in a way, because I haven't seen any real new. I mean, yeah, Andor. I was watching Andor, which I loved, and that was fantastic. But I haven't seen a lot of Marvel stuff on Disney.
I didn't watch that black and white thing.
I did.
I didn't watch it.
I watched it for Halloween.
Is it related? I'm just asking. I think y'all talked about it, but it's not related to
nothing at all.
I probably wouldn't watch that.
But I enjoyed it for that reason, because it was standalone. So listen, ultimate takeaway is this, right? I do think everybody has their own personal preferences, and I do not believe that anything I say is that much of an influence, because I don't think the people in Hollywood who are being like, oh shit, Sean's getting tired, we should cut this off.
Are you sure? Did you see the end of She-Hulk?
So I just actually that well,
are you sure?
Maybe they did. Maybe they heard me. Actually, I think all they did was do a disservice to She-Hulk, and they didn't give that.
Jacked up the ending.
That was Anyways, so what I would say is this: I do think that when we're here on this show, part of the fun is being able to express our feelings about the movies, which isn't always necessarily a critic's takeaway. And it isn't necessarily advice for others to go see or not see films, because ultimately you should decide for yourself what you want to watch, what you see, what you don't see. Now, if you come here for the entertainment that we give you, fan-freaking-tastic. I would love that. If you want to come here for the debate, let's freaking debate. But takeaway from everything is go see these films. Because Genesis is right. We want to keep them alive. So go watch them. Go experience them. Go have a good time enjoying them. But, if you need to take a break from them, like this guy who is taking a break from them, take a break from them. Wait till they come on streaming. Watch them when they stream. Because there's no right or wrong way to see it. Just enjoy it as it needs to be enjoyed. And if you don't enjoy it, stop freaking watching it.
I'm throwing it out there as a PSA. Do not stop watching it. Because you know what I didn't watch? Star Trek Enterprise when it came out. And what happened? It took 15 years for me to get any new Star Trek. 15 years. I'm only 37. Almost half my life there was no Star Trek happening. Why? Because no one watched Enterprise.
But hold on. Again, this goes back to my point. And I actually like Enterprise. That first season was crap. And I have the
power. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying, but it does go back to the point, right? There was a lot of Star Trek, and then there wasn't, because people had gotten burned out. The fans had gotten burned out, and then Enterprise wasn't as good as it should have been to carry the franchise.
Genesis, burnout.
Genesis, with all the times that you've heard me say, I wish this would end, you should not be surprised that I feel like these need to end for a little while. Like,
no, keep watching.
I am the king of saying, okay, it's been 2 seasons. Let's stop this. Let's stop the series and create a new series. That's just me, man.
I'm old school. I still buy CDs. I still buy compact discs. Support the artist.
I'm buying
any art that you see. If you want more of it, you have to consume it, regardless if it's good or not.
Got a record player downstairs. I just picked up. I mean, what did I just buy? I bought Radiohead's Pablo Honey, and I bought Stankonia from Outkast. Because I was like,
hey, hot take here. Stankonia was better than Speaker Box and The Love Below.
It was. No,
but that's the one that got all the. That's the guy. It got all the awards.
It got all the play. No, Stank better.
Stankonia's better.
I got Atlians a little while earlier too, so I got that down there as well. With
elevators.
But I'm getting LPs. So yes, I still have some nostalgia. I absolutely do. I've got records, man.
Hey, if I can keep watching these crap ass DC movies, y'all can keep watching the Marvel. Y'all can keep watching the Marvel stuff. If I can keep watching and supporting DC.
We're gonna keep watching these films. I'm just gonna not worry. I'm not gonna worry anymore. At this point, I'm not gonna worry anymore about I have to see it now. I have to get out there and see it now. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait.
Remember what Genesis says. Support the overlords. Support your local overlord. You have to support them.
Like Titan Comics?
Exactly. Like Titan Comics.
Oh wait, let me point all the way out here so Missy doesn't make fun of me because she
thinks
she thought this was something else. She was like, I know he's pointing to the banner, but it also looks like
Yep.
I'm pointing to the banner down here. Powered by Titan Comics. Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
So
exactly. Right there. TitanComics.com, 214-350-4420, 312-84 number 250, in Dallas, Texas, 75234. Go say hi to Jeremy and go buy yourself some comics so that we can keep getting them. And again, support Antarctic Press. They're doing good work. They're out there, they're making changes. We're getting season 2 of
Warrior Nun is out on Netflix. If you want to watch it now.
And we may be getting Ninja High School. We may be getting some of these other Antarctic Press titles.
That would be awesome.
So again,
and if you want them, go watch, right?
Go watch.
Support this other stuff. Right.
That's right. Support the other stuff. That's right. Wait and stay tuned. At the end, wait till you see Ben Dunn's name pop up in the credits, and you can be like, I've seen that guy on a podcast.
Yeah.
So hey,
with a bunch of losers.
With a bunch of losers. Genesis, thank you for joining us and having a good spirited debate. Always a pleasure having you on. Much more informative than Ray. Thank you, sir.
Yes. A version of Ray that actually allows us to complete sentences. I'm shocked and thrilled.
Shut up, Jason.
There you go.
There it is.
Now it feels like home.
Now it feels like Vagabond Nerds.
See y'all.